back to Section 4 Fans, the podcast with real fans, real takes. This is episode 23, and it is a loaded one. We're kicking things off with a Super Bowl 60 recap, and then we're going to be going across the pond and diving into the Premier League. It's been a while since we've touched on that, so we're going to really dive in on this episode. We're also joined by JD Orosco once again, a fellow Man U supporter, so you already know what we're going to be talking about. So you know what? Without further ado, let's get into it.
I hate how you
Super
call it.
Bowl,
I hate how you call it Man U.
Man U, Man United.
Say
It is
United.
United, yeah, I guess, but maybe some people think I'm talking about Newcastle United, you know?
No, there's one true United, and that's
Yeah.
Manchester United.
Okay. Come on, you Irons.
Sorry,
Um,
continue.
no, we can dive into Super Bowl 60 here. I think we all watched the game, and I knew it was going to be defensive, but I didn't think it was going to be, that defensive. It Seattle's defense was playing out of their mind. The Patriots couldn't get anything going, quite literally. Drake May didn't play his best game, let alone his best playoffs. He was really poor throughout most of the playoff run for the Patriots. However, you obviously can't put it just on him.
I
Kind of, go ahead.
I think it showed where the real problem was for the New England offense, and that was the left half of the line. Obviously, two great offensive linemen, but you have two rookies starting there in the Super Bowl, first time ever. They said that multiple times on the broadcast. But I mean, one guy goes to help over there, it leaves another guy open. I'd like to see a stat on blitzes for Seattle on which side of the offensive line they did it the most. Because it felt like Witherspoon would just come out of nowhere and
Yeah.
just rush right into a gap between the two offensive linemen on the left side. And also you had Will Campbell can push back into Drake May multiple times. I,
Yeah,
I I
that
don't think you can put as much blame on Drake May. I just think the Seattle defense overpowered them. I think scheme wise they overpowered them as well.
that
Um,
was kind of the main thing there. I think it just showed levels to my McDonald's defensive scheme, where he basically fake like it shows he shows that seven's gonna rush, but then sometimes only four will rush, sometimes only five will rush, and then sometimes seven rush, and then that's when Witherspoon or Love come flying through the gap. I was watching a little bit of the Pat McAfee show. And they had AQ Shipley on, and he was talking about how you could tell Drake May was a rookie quarterback. Essentially, yes, he's year two, but this is his first full NFL season that he had. Because as a rookie, it's not quite what it is the rest of
mhm.
your career. But there was a lot of times where AQ Shipley, former offensive lineman in the NFL, he was saying that if it was a veteran quarterback, they would have shifted the line. They would have shifted the protection. I think on the real big hit where Witherspoon came down, the center went left, whereas if the center went right, it would have allowed more time potentially, because he just came flying through because everyone was going to the left already. But yeah, it just wasn't a great showing from the Patriots. I think their only bright spot was Christian Gonzalez, and that is no surprise myself. He was absolutely locked down the whole game, only allowed three receptions for 36 yards.
He's so
He
good.
broke up three passes, including a deep ball to Shaheed and an end zone shot to Smith and Jigba. He lined up against JSN 14 times and held him to one reception for 16 yards on three targets faced. So, as poor as New England was, I think defensively
And that
they do
it
have
was
they do
a
have quite a bright spot there.
I think it was a slant that he caught or a post route over the middle early in the second half. That was that one reception. And it was
Yep.
almost like it was zone defense from the Patriots, I felt like, because he just found a gap right. It was almost like cover three and he just found a gap right in the middle and
Yeah,
caught
I
it,
think
went down.
I think they did go to zone quite a bit. I think that's kind of something you have to do when you got Kenneth Walker just drilling down your throat, because they literally couldn't get anything going defensively. He was just they couldn't get tackles.
I
Nothing was
don't
happening.
I don't
Um,
think Seattle's offense was all that great.
no, it wasn't. But when Kenneth
I
Walker
think
was balling out early in the game, that was huge for Seattle.
I
And
think the
as
Pats
we
beat
all saw it,
themselves defensively though, because they like
yeah, they couldn't
the
tackle.
the amount of times that they had Darnold in the backfield and he somehow got out of it looking like Caleb Williams. Like it was ridiculous. It was multiple times in the first half, and then they finally later in the second half finally got to him and sacked him. Um,
Yeah, he only had one sack on the night. I
and
believe Drake May
everyone,
had six, which was one shy of a Super Bowl record.
yeah, and then you had Kenneth Walker bouncing off everyone.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I
it's
think I think the Patriots beat themselves up. Um, but I mean, going from a what 3-4 win season to a Super Bowl appearance
yeah,
with a young squad.
you definitely
I
can't
think it's
hang your head
extremely
low.
promising. And
Yeah,
it's not like on the offensive ball that they have like some stud wide receiver or some stud.
no, I think that's what they're going to go after. Probably in this offseason and the draft is, try and just get Drake May more weapons offensively because, at the times where he did have the protection, obviously it wasn't long lasting, but when he was trying to get the ball into the receiver's hands, the receivers weren't even open.
I think I
That
think the
was
big
also
thing
another big issue.
the Patriots showed all season is that you don't need a stud wide receiver. I think
No, but I just think they could
I
use more
think
quality.
I think the big thing is that you get a wide receiver in the draft and you spend the money in the trenches.
Yeah, I think they
I
need
think
to bring in more veteran presence.
Seattle's a good look at it. Like if you, I mean, they traded for Rashid Shaheed.
They
They
also brought in
drafted,
old Demarcus Lawrence on defense
but they drafted JSN, right? They're gonna have to
and
pay him
Witherspoon.
and Witherspoon, and I think they didn't go after a big wide receiver name in the market like Jacoby
It was
Myers.
just Cooper Cup,
Yeah,
and he was
but
honestly underpaid, but he was utilized perfectly in this game.
Jacoby Myers, for example, available. No, like you don't need him. Like you're gonna be
Yeah,
paying him a lot of money,
it's not
but
a guy that you want to pay that
you
much
can
to.
find 10 other guys that will put out the same product with half the price, but you might not find a defensive back or a linebacker that can put out the same product.
Yeah, I got no doubt in my
It's a
mind that
really well built team by Seattle.
yeah, Seattle's looking pretty good. In terms of offseason, I don't think they're going to be losing too many pieces. I know Kenneth Walker is a free agent, so that'll be interesting to see. If he leaves Seattle, if he lands somewhere else. Just kind of going off of it, I would imagine he comes back to Seattle. Seems like he loves it there.
I think he
Seems like
lands
he
somewhere
loves
else.
playing under the coach. But at the end of the day, everyone kind of loves a payday.
I think he lands
One
somewhere.
last note on his production. He had 48% of Seattle's total offense.
I
He
think he
accounted for 161 yards of 335.
I think he lands somewhere else, especially with Charbonnet. Oh, actually, Charbonnet tore his ACL,
Yeah,
no?
but because Charbonnet
So
is injured, so it's definitely going to
he
be
might be out
interesting.
all next year, Charbonnet.
Probably. So, I would imagine Seattle is going to give him probably a pretty good offer. If not, they're going to match, whatever else someone gives
Yeah.
him. Kind of looking at the salary cap right now, I could imagine the the Tennessee Titans. They got quite a bit in salary cap, and they could definitely use a good quality offensive weapon to pair with Cam Ward and their new coaching
I
staff
think
there.
they go
But
after Jeremiah Love or some early second round or something.
uh, I, th- um, latest mock draft I saw, Jeremiah Love was going like 8 or 9. Um, yeah,
I know
he
he's
was.
good, but I mean,
He's going first, running back off the board. I think most
yeah,
of
I
them
think
had him
everyone
top
knew
10.
that, but should we go over to the Premier League?
Yeah, we can, switch
I
to the
got
other
some
football. This was a hell of a season for the NFL. It'll be interesting to see how the
horrible
offseason and
way
the
to
draft
end it.
process goes. But, I'm already looking forward to next year in terms of the NFL. But let's go over the pond. Let's check in on the Premier League.
I
Uh,
got some topics to talk about.
yeah,
Bring up.
you started off. I got the football section a little bit.
Um, Title race. It's dwindled down to two teams pretty much. Um, Arsenal and City. Arsenal with a 6 point advantage. Do they close it out the rest of the season? Um, with a 6 point lead right now. They have Brentford away on Thursday, which Brentford have been overperforming the whole season, I'd say.
Yeah,
Uh,
they have been. I think a lot of people had
well,
them.
I wouldn't say
Definitely getting relegated for sure.
I wouldn't
I
say
think it.
overperforming. I'd say over expectations.
Oh yeah, by a landslide. I don't think anyone had them really this
Yeah,
high. But the team has just been able
they're
to
they're
produce quite
fighting for
well.
Europe right now. They're 4 points back on Chelsea, who's in fifth place
Yep.
currently. So JD, what do you think about City Arsenal? Uh, Still ways to go down to the wire.
We still have what, 13 games to go.
Something
Um,
like that. 25 games
I
played.
mean,
Yeah, 13.
Arsenal needs to stay strong, you know. They've been strong in the Champions League for sure, but in the Premier League they've kind of bottled a couple of things here and there. I mean, of course they dropped points against United. Um, and then they lost against Villa, that extraordinary goal that was made there. Um, but I think that the defense needs to get back to where they were in the beginning of the season. I think if they can stay strong, I think they can get it. I think they can make sure that City doesn't win it.
They have a pretty easy Premier League schedule the rest of the way. The
They
The
only
do.
yeah, the only thing that you're probably looking at it too
City and
is
Chelsea.
they have a tough stretch uh, towards the end of March where they play City twice, but one of them is the cup game. So it doesn't have any prim implications, but it's still a pretty tough section of their schedule right there. I think they play Chelsea right before that as well, which they've been quite good under this new manager as well.
Yeah, and City have Chelsea away still to play. And City finished off the season Villa at home, which is no easy task. Which
Yeah.
if we're the Premier City needs to beat Arsenal at home. They need to win City away and they need a Chelsea win. Um, is it Arsenal at home against Chelsea, I believe? Yeah. They need Chelsea to go to the Emirates and get 3 points there. But after watching Chelsea play Arsenal in the Carabao Cup doesn't look likely. I think Chelsea will come out completely different though in that game. Especially since they're fighting for a Champions League spot as well, sitting in fifth place. But I think the big question is, I think both City and Arsenal have so much depth that I can't see Arsenal losing this title race because of how deep they are. Even though with all the competitions that both teams are playing in, I think Arsenal are just so deep as a team. And I think I mean they have Wolves, Tottenham, Chelsea, Brighton, Everton, Bournemouth, City, Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, Palace, the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at what you read off there, the last couple games of the season for them are easy. Um, but if Arsenal drop points before they play City, I think that's just going to make that game that much bigger. I don't anticipate City dropping points up until that point. Honestly, it's City after all. They always click. Bernardo Silva's through the trenches again. He's already gotten one hair transplant. Now he needs another. So he's definitely being run to the ground there and for
I
City.
think Chelsea
But
away is scary for City.
yeah, I mean that's the big one. Chelsea's kind of been, um, you know, yeah, I mean they kind of been on fire. It's definitely been interesting to watch though under the new manager, but it seems to be clicking over there. The one thing that I did like with Chelsea is we've seen them go down. I know you don't want to touch on this, but in that game against West Ham, they were down 2-0, and
We
Chelsea
can get
comes
to
out.
that later. What?
Chelsea came out of halftime down 2-0, and they were able to claw their way back to the game. So I think just being down to, probably a side that should have been an easy win and being able to claw those 3 points back, I think that shows a lot.
Um,
I
let's
think City.
you think
I think
City?
City. I think City. I think City. I mean, they've been they've been all over the place this season. They've dropped
Yeah.
points here and there. Then they come back up, like Danny said. They find a way to click. Bernardo Silva has been on fire. Um, and if Holland can find his form again, I feel like they can definitely get there. But I mean, I think it's a tough one. Arsenal
Yeah.
definitely cannot drop points though. Arsenal
Yeah.
cannot drop points. Um,
Doku and Gavardiol are out. Gavardiol's out till early May, so I think that's him out for the rest of the season,
Yeah,
pretty
but I
much.
mean they got Gahey in, so I mean I think defensively they'll be fine.
I think it's more
Um,
left back where it's either
yeah,
eight Nori,
I think
O'Reilly, or Ake playing there.
I think also it's going to come down to offensive production. Gyökeres has obviously struggled this season. He hasn't
I
been the
mean,
prolific
Gabriel
striker.
Jesus is,
He, yeah, he hasn't been the prolific striker that everyone thought that he was going to be, especially with the amount of money they spent. So if you're kind of just looking at the rest of the season, I could see why some people would think City has an edge because if they keep clicking, I think most people would back Holland, even though he's been up and down this season over
yeah,
Gyökeres.
I think
oh,
they could.
definitely,
I think
100%.
I think they could throw Gabriel up front, the center back, and score the same amount of goals. I think with the service that's provided and how they score their goals, I think you could toss anyone up front on Arsenal and they'd score.
Yeah,
Um, Moving down the table a little bit, let's talk about both your guys' team. United.
yeah.
Uh, is it time to offer Carrick a full-time contract?
No,
No,
No.
I think he
I
needs a little bit more.
I think honestly, I wouldn't offer him a contract until the end of the season. I wouldn't even try and get any discussions like rumored out. I would just let him do his thing. He's already been adamant about he's a caretaker role at the moment. Obviously, if if United stays on fire the rest of the season and they don't drop points at all, they get 3 points every game the rest of the season. Not only would they probably put in a little bit of a title charge late in the season, potentially if some teams drop points. But I think then you could go, okay, here's what we got for you, Carrick. You could take this. I know you wanted it as a caretaker role, but you've done well. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really. It's hard to say if the manager really makes a difference. I think there's still problems deep within the club. But
For sure.
obviously
Yeah.
having Carrick, who's been a player under the best manager in arguably Prem history.
Let's talk about
I
these
think it shows his
results.
knowledge.
Let's talk about these results real quick. United 2-0 against City. Arsenal away 3-2 win. So you just beat the top two teams in the league. Fulham 3-2 win. Tottenham 2-0 win.
I think
Yeah,
that Fulham United game kind of exposed the weakness, and we're gonna go back to the topic Ugarte. The minute he came into the game, that's when those two goals were let in. I don't know if Ugarte is cursed or what it is with this player. We can see why Amorim got rid of him at Sporting. We can see why PSG got rid of him as well. He has weaknesses, of course, in the middle there. He can't create good passes. Um, I believe that if Ugarte had not come into that game and Casemiro had stayed for the whole 90 minutes, that game would have ended differently. Um, but I mean, nerve-wracking game for sure. Seshko definitely produced at the end there in the 94th minute to kind of give some excitement and some form back
theatrics.
to the team.
Yeah,
Yeah, some theatrics, like the Fergie time, basically is what they call it.
yeah,
Um, and then that Spurs game, I didn't watch everything due to being at the convention in half, and they looked pretty good. That goal for by Bruno was pretty impressive. I think they could have done better, of course, but like I said, I didn't watch the whole game. So, Danny, if you did,
Yeah, I mean, I watched quite a bit. It it wasn't the best I've seen United play this season, but it definitely wasn't the worst. Obviously, Tottenham has been, pretty horrible in the Prem this year. They've been okay in Europe. That's where they've been getting most of their wins. But I think just that reckless challenge by Romero just killed it for them. Um, I mean, you could just see.
I mean, even before that, I thought
Yeah, I
United would
mean they
score.
were on the ropes. Like if you pull up the stats, it was 23 shots to 7. So like they were just bad. They were just battering it in on Tottenham, and Tottenham has just been not a good team this year. I mean, I think they're 6 points above relegation at the moment, which is no place you want to be for what is considered a Big Six club. But yeah, a solid performance out of United. It was, it's Bruno. What can you say? He's you could tell
Somebody needs to
just he
study him.
he he's kind of the glue. He's
Yeah.
clearly the glue to this team.
West Ham
And
has his regen. There's one.
yeah, I mean Fernandez just has a good year. The guy on West Ham. It'll be interesting to see where he goes in this next
He's
transfer
staying.
window. The But yeah, I will agree with you, JD. I think Ugarte is still kind of I don't know. I think it just kind of just shakes up the chemistry too bit. I think he's been able to be exposed quite easily, but
He's
also
not
at the same
confident enough. Yeah.
time, Casemiro cannot play 90 minutes at this point in
Correct.
his career. At least
Yep.
in the Prem, he just simply just cannot do that. I mean, he had 87 minutes against Tottenham this past weekend, but still, it's for a game like that Fulham game where it got quite chippy at the end, back and forth. Those legs are going to tire out quite quick.
Let's
No, definitely.
let's keep moving down the table here. Let's talk about a little bit about underperforming teams. I think these three teams are underperforming. Obviously, the big ones, Newcastle and Tottenham, are I believe, the two big underperforming teams. And also, I'd throw Brighton into that category for underperforming. I think they had uh, more, a lot.
They had higher expectations for
Yes,
sure.
thank you.
Yep.
Higher expectations. I think they could have been fighting for Europe, like where heck, Everton's in eighth place. I didn't even realize that. Um, I think they could be fighting where Everton or Brentford are right now. Um, but they're bottom half of the table. We can go Newcastle first. Eddie Howe is kind of on the hot seat, kind of not. Um,
Yeah, it's
they're
been
still in Champions League. They have the Azerbaijan team in the knockouts, which they've lucked out there. Um, but their next few games is Tottenham away, which is going to be a huge game, actually, I feel like, for both managers. Villa away in the FA Cup, Champions League, City away, Champions League, Everton, United, Chelsea away, Sunderland. That's their fixtures until the end of March,
Like
right there.
Newcastle, the big thing was the noise surrounding Alexander Isak, everything that started at the beginning of the season, him not wanting to play for them anymore. I feel like a lot of it had to do with how it affected the team. Ultimate, I feel like he has produced. He has looked pretty good. He
He's
has
looked
dropped a
really
little bit of
good.
form. I feel like he's dropped a little bit of form, but he's still there. He's been a good signing for them. But you have that, and then the soy surrounding Sandro Tonali as well. Like, what's going to happen with him? Is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? That's
Is
a
he rumored somewhere?
he's rumored
I
to be leaving the team
yeah, that's
and
what
we're
I've
not
been
sure
seeing.
where. But I've been seeing where they've been talking about him wanting, not wanting to leave, but there's a talk of like, is he going to stay? Is he going to go?
Go
And I
back
feel
to
like that's
Italy.
also, I feel like that's affecting the team a little bit. He's been, it's always every player is connected to Manchester United.
Well, yeah, it's 9 hours
And
ago. Sky Sports, Sandro Tonali, Manchester United put Newcastle midfielder high on short list.
Yeah, I mean the amount of times I've seen a notification like that, and the player is still not even on the team. It is what it is. It's all for clicks. That would be, I think that would be a very good addition to the team, especially to help plug in that spot with Casemiro leaving. The one thing for me looking at Newcastle is they've been quite riddled with injuries all year. Fabian Schär's been out, ankle injury. He's still out until mid-April. Livermento's out until mid-March. Joelinton's out until the end of this month. Lewis Miley just got injured, and then Anthony Gordon got injured a little bit ago, and he's out till middle of this month as well. So, they do have some lack of depth on this team, and it hasn't just been, in the recent weeks. It's been, since the start of the season. I think they've had quite a few players on that injury bug area.
Yeah, even with Wissa back, I mean, kind of not a good signing so far this season. Looking at his form,
Yeah.
I mean, he has 1, 2, 3 goals in. Let's see, 1 goal in 11 matches in the Prem. Uh, that it's just not what he was. It's not what he was producing at Brentford. Let alone for how much you paid for him. It's not the Isak replacement that you were expecting. Uh, and then moving on over here to Tottenham. I'm surprised Frank's still in charge.
The only
That's
thing saving
surprising.
him is the Champions League.
Yeah.
They're somehow getting their wins there, where it's to the point where, like, as long as they don't get relegated, if they make a deep run into the Champions League, I don't know if they would sack him. You know what I mean? But
That
obviously, being down in 15th is not a good look at all,
yeah.
especially after just winning a trophy the previous year.
I mean, they did finish 17th last year or 16th. I can't remember which one it was. So to be at the bottom of the table again, it just doesn't look good for them.
It's been 8
Um,
games since the Premier League win.
That's too
I don't
long.
understand. I don't understand what goes with Tottenham. Nothing clicks. They bring so many managers. They had
Jose.
Jose and then Ange, and then they brought in Nuno too, right? I can't remember. No, Ange and then Thomas. It's just nothing seems to click for them, and I don't know if that team is also cursed or what it is with that team. But any manager, I mean, you thought bringing Jose was going to fix the problem, but I just feel like there's just too much. I don't know. I don't even know what words I'm trying to say here. It's just nothing clicks with this team. Nothing.
I think it's just I'd say a lack of patience of the manager and not fitting the roles that he needs. Like if you look at Brentford, for example, their manager was their set piece coach, and they have guys who can throw the ball probably like as far as the NFL quarterback can with 2 hands, and they're up in 7th place. I think it's just a lack of fitting the team needs. I think it's just a lot of signings that they think they need, but they don't. I think defensively they're horrible.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, their center backs are their two center backs are their top three scorers.
and they can't stay healthy either.
Yeah,
They
Yeah.
can't stay healthy.
they can't click and
Um,
they can't stay healthy. So it's
looking at
gonna
their
be like this.
projected back line for tomorrow, it's Archie Gray, Dragusin, Van de Ven, and some Brazilian 19-year-old Sousa that looks like they've just signed from Santos.
Yeah. So
Right, because Romero's out for the next 4 games.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
at
that
least it's home against Newcastle.
I mean Newcastle really only wins away games. So I think that back line is going to get destroyed tomorrow. Absolutely
Yeah.
torched. Um I mean final few minutes here we can move down to the relegation battle, I guess.
Yeah, this has been, quite a interesting battle, I think. At
Wolves going down confirmed,
Yeah,
Burnley
I
going
think
down
at this
confirmed.
point you can confirm those two teams. I think it's ultimately going to be a race between, West Ham, Forest, Leeds, and
Tottenham's in it.
and Tottenham. Tottenham is
Tottenham.
somehow in
Yeah.
it. If Tottenham can't scrape together points, they're going to find themselves
They're in
on the
a
edge of something that could be quite disastrous.
Yeah, I mean, we can go back to that West Ham Chelsea game, the going 2-0 up. I think one big thing with Nuno is once the second half starts with a lead, it's all about surviving the rest of the game. It's not about going to get the 3 points, it's surviving to keep the 3 points.
Agree.
And if you watch them play against Burnley, they got packed in the entire second half. It honestly looked like Burnley should have won the game 3-2 like the Chelsea. It looked like the Chelsea game.
Yeah, I mean, the possession, Burnley had more. They had more shots. So yeah, they definitely parked the bus, packed it in
And that's just
type of game there, and that's not what you want for a team that's trying to survive.
Yeah, and especially against a team that's below you in the relegation battle. I get that it's away from home and stuff, but have some confidence in some of the players that you have, like Mateus Fernandez. Somerville's playing well. Diouf had a amazing cross to Castellanos in the game. You have Jared Bowen. You have Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka and Somerville have been, probably some of your top players this year. Somerville's been on quite a tear recently. He's definitely in form, and he's definitely a top player in the Prem at this moment. If you're taking recent form him, I definitely would put him up there.
And
Just the chances he's been able to create for West Ham has been crucial.
then Hermanson came in and
Huge. Thoughts on that? What do you think about him over Areola? I know a lot of West Ham fans don't like Areola, but obviously Hermanson came in and he got another clean sheet for West Ham, and he was the last keeper to get a clean sheet for West Ham as well.
I
Areola hasn't been able to get any.
I'm curious if Hermanson starts tomorrow because Areola, the thing is he's fantastic at shot stopping, but just the decision making he
Yeah,
does is horrible. And I think Hermanson will be shaky tomorrow back there. I don't think Hermanson has gotten a fair chance at keeping a starting spot. And I think Areola has done
yeah,
well this season. Areola's had, I think he's like one of the top rated goalkeepers in the Prem and expected goals prevented. I think that's the
yeah.
stat.
Probably. I mean, when you only have like 20% possession, you're going to get quite a few shots
I
on you.
think I think Diassi uh also played really well
Yeah,
for
that
not
looks like it
playing
could be a pretty good signing.
since last year. To come in and to keep that is huge. I'm curious on your guys' takes on the relegation battle the rest of the season. I think I like to keep I'm going to keep the confidence. I think West Ham survive, but
I'm looking
it's
at the schedule here, and I have to agree with you. I feel that they do have a tough schedule, the remaining 13 games, but I think Forest has a little bit of more of a tougher schedule than they do.
especially if they
If
stay in Europa League with the extra matches.
Yeah, I definitely believe that Nottingham will be the ones who drop more points than West Ham, and we probably will see West Ham next season. And I'd say we see Nottingham. But I may be wrong. I said Fulham was going to be relegated with Burnley and Wolves, and look at where they're at now. They're in 10th place. Um, but honestly, I would love to see West Ham next season in the Premier League. I would not want to see them in the Championship.
You know,
Um, they're a very entertaining team. You guys got rid of your problem, Paqueta. I feel like with losing him, I feel like the team can definitely get back into form for sure. Um, you know, yeah, no, I say Wolves, Burnley, and Nottingham Forest. We see West Ham next season.
Danny.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with West Ham is their next six matches, they'll be lucky to scrape a point
I
or
gotta
two,
see.
honestly. But then after that point, I
Oh,
think
Bournemouth at home. I think they could scrape a win there.
um, but then you got Liverpool away, Fulham away, City home, Villa away. Um,
Wolves at home. We've lost both times against Wolves this season. I have no idea what that game's going to
yeah,
end up
so
being.
I think it's just going to come down to those last couple games. I'm not sure what some of the other teams. I know right now Wolves, Burnley going down. Those are going to be my two. Um,
It's
I love hate watching Burnley. You know me, or not Burnley, you're shitty West Ham. But yeah, yeah, I think it's going to be between West Ham and Forest. I think Tottenham should be able to.
Gotta choose one here.
Uh, I think. Let me see real quick.
I think Tottenham is the new Everton, where they've been struggling the past couple seasons to stay on top, you know? I feel like they can stay. I don't
Ye-
know.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'd have to go. I'll probably go with. Oh God, I think West Ham stays up, but barely. I think they barely do. I think
Ooh.
I think what really it's going to come down to is this game between Tottenham and Forest. I think that's going to be huge on March 22nd because kind of looking at both their remaining fixtures, they should be able to stay up realistically if you look at their fixtures. But yeah, they haven't just been playing great all season. So I think the thing for me is if West Ham can survive, the next, 4 to 5 games without really losing position in the table, they're not going to drop further. But in terms of just the point gap, if they could keep the gap close, I think that's going to be huge for them.
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, episode 23, section for fans. Thank you. See you next time.